vakatobuda zvamutosi totaura zvamabajuka vakabuda zvamutosi vachimirabira vakanyatsa kuonekwa pachena in numbers vachibuda vachiungana kuti bvu ndozvatinoda zvakasiyana nekumashonalandist omumatsamba anogona kuenda but vanhu havana kubuda vachinyatsa kumirira zvinhu zvavo daivadaro daifacilitine drives asina kumirira
Zimbabwe tonight coming in about politician Roy Bennett. Reportedly, he and his wife Heather have died in a helicopter crash in Canada. The news has been confirmed by MDC Vice President Nelson Chamisa.
Roy Leslie Bennett.
Greetings, people. What's up? What's happening? My name is Dr. Clarence, and welcome to TV7 Live. Today, we're going to be giving you everything you need to know about Roy Bennett. We're going to be talking about the life of Roy Bennett from birth, his achievements, everything that he went through until today when he kicked the bucket. But in the meantime, before you guys proceed, I'd like to ask you for one favor. Please make sure you click the like button. Leave a comment when you finish watching this video. Alright, apparently Roy Bennett, before moving to the Movement for Democratic Change, MDC, he was a member of the ZANU-PF. Then he moved on to ZANU-PF.
Movement for Democratic Change, the opposition party that won a general election 3 years ago against Robert Mugabe's ZANU-PF, and a year later, under a so-called global political agreement, became part of a national unity government that is still dominated by Mr. Mugabe. In 2009, Mr. Bennett was arrested and imprisoned after being accused of plotting to overthrow the government. Despite being acquitted, he went into exile in fear of his life. In the past few months, violence has increased against the MDC, and speculation has mounted that Mr. Mugabe may call another election. Led by South Africa, a group of neighbouring countries called the Southern African Development Community, better known as SADC, has warned Mr. Mugabe against holding elections until there is a level playing field for the opposition.
Alright guys, can you hear me clearly? Can you confirm what audio would say? Can you confirm, guys? I'm gonna check just a few seconds. Let me just check my audio. What did he say? Just a few seconds. I want to check something.
It's called the Southern African Development Community.
Alright, confirmed sound is okay. Remember, we're having problem in the sound here the past days because network yakadakwa. Right. All right, now let's talk about Roy Bennett. Roy Bennett was born on 16 February 1957. And he passed on 17 January 2017. Just less than 30 days before his birthday. He was a Zimbabwean politician and former member of the British South African Police BSAPP. He was also a member of the House of Assembly of Zimbabwe for the seat of Chimanimani, where he was affectionately known as Pachedu, loosely translated between us. He was the treasurer for the Movement of Democratic Change party led by Morgan Changirai and a member of the Senate of Zimbabwe. He was set to become the Deputy Minister of Agriculture of Zimbabwe until President Robert Gabriel Mugabe refused to swear him in. Roy Bennett was one of the 3 white parliamentarians elected in the Zimbabwean parliamentary elections 2000, despite intimidation against MDC voters by supporters of ZANU-PF. During the election campaign, that was in the year 2000, his wife, who was 3 months pregnant, alleges that she was physically abused by so-called ZANU-PF activists on their farm and subsequently miscarried her baby boy. In the year 2004, I'm very sorry, during the parliamentary debate in which Justice Minister Patrick Chinamasa was pushing to amend the mandatory 3-year sentence for stock theft to 9 years, Bennett argued that it's only because the ZANU-PF government had stolen cattle did they now want to revert a repressive Rhodesian law. Chinamasa then said, Mr. Bennett has not forgiven the government for acquiring the farm, but he forgets that his forefathers were thieves and murderers. Bennett stood up and walked towards Comrade Chinamasa, shouting, "Unoda kunijaira iwewe? Nai, unoda kuti ndiite sei?" This guy, apparently, Bennett was so fluent in Shona. So he said, "Don't think you can get away with trying to take advantage of me. What do you want me to do?" Bennett then pushed and punched Chinamasa, who fell on the floor. He was kicked from behind Bennett, after pushing Chinamasa and punching Chinamasa, he was kicked from behind by Anti-Corruption Minister Ditmas Mutasa, who he then unsuccessfully tried to punch. ZANU-PF MP Eliud Manyika reached for a gun in his jacket and threatened Bennett. The sergeant at arms escorted Bennett out of the chamber. Deputy Speaker Edna Majongwe ejected Nelson Chamisa and Williams Mudzemere for their involvement in the fight. The Crisis in Zimbabwe coalition condemned actions of Bennett and Chinamasa. A bill attainder was then passed, the parliamentary committee investigating the incident, which eventually imprisoned Bennett for 15 months. That is around 1.5 years. Yes, he was inside. On June 2005, Bennett was released from Chikurubi prison after spending 8 months of his 12-month sentence in custody. It is a standard prison procedure to commute a third of any sentence for good behavior. He told reporters that he had been made to stand naked in front of prison guards and was given prison uniform covered in human excrement and light. When he arrived in jail, he denounced prison conditions generally in a press conference after his release, saying the inhumanity with which prisoners are treated at the total lack of recourse to any representation or justice, combined with the filth stench of daily life, is something I will never forget, and I will not rest until their conditions are improved. I don't know if he then worked to get his conditions approved. Alright guys, keep your comments coming. Big up to everybody who's watching us live right about now. Dr. Clarence TV7 Live is the channel. Subscribe so that you never miss any of our latest videos. Big up to Just Bando Temba Delaware Kwena, Gilles say Bad Scientist, Mary Bwande, Jukfire, IGK. Okay, Delaware Kwena says I'm watching from Gaborone.
We don't get
during the MDC split over the proposed boycott of election to the Zimbabwe Senate in 2005, Bennett sided with MDC President Morgan Tsvangirai in support of the boycott. Bennett previously lived in South Africa as a refugee. His application for asylum was initially rejected by the South African Department of Immigration after a court ruling by South African Human Rights Commission. His asylum was then accepted on 13 May 2007. During his time in exile, he had an active role in activism for Zimbabwe, and particularly the MDC in South Africa. In 2006, he became the Treasurer General for the mainstream faction of the MDC led by Morgan Tsvangirai. He was also a spokesperson in South Africa and made regular interviews on the behalf of the MDC. During President Robert Gabriel Mugabe's 84th birthday celebrations at the border area of Beitbridge, just before the 2008 elections, Roy Bennett led demonstrations on the South African side. Roy Bennett then returned at the end of January 2009 to Zimbabwe after several years in exile. He returned to Zimbabwe to join a debate within the MDC to decide whether or not to agree to the power-sharing government with Mugabe, the GNU, after the MDC ultimately agreed to share power with ZANU-PF. Alright, this is when President Mugabe refused to swear in Roy Bennett. Roy Bennett passed on today together with his wife, Hida. Oh, it's no longer today, it's actually 17 January 2018 in New Mexico. Alright guys, Dr. Clarence TV7 Live. That was it. Signing out. Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe if you've not yet already done so. Subscribe guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for your comments.
Ukashika pasowereno sekomanya tinokuro Takatania mubaibeli pakati pa Davidi na Goliati Takazopelera kukudiriro pakati pa Matibaba Erayoti Alimane timbo Alimaskaba tirodamu Alimane timbo Alimaskaba tirodamu Machikwenya Opisa chikwenya Machikwenya Opisa chikwenya Zikazina mazibaba Rukare manuwamware Zikazanga Rwande Zikanzima wona kaba Dangandi chikuda ikaku Tinambo wona kamwe yaka Kuti Eka Daria ikurodi Ano uyatete Ano uyatete Kaburisa ano uyatete Asigato nubi Urodi ano uyatete Ano uyatete Kaburisa ano uyatete Asigano Zikazina mazibaba Machaira kuchairira Vandu vemusika Nasi muchasha misika Giruzi tangwari pano zichatika ana Mikaelo, ana Gabrielo, ana Joel, ana Samero, magama chaira kura Samuel, manje toda kukuratidza ekuti tiri mamero. Ndikanzi namadzibaba, kana madzibaba surumani vanobvumirana neni. Kuti kana munani dzeverupeta batai munhu, tsika musoro batai munhu, kana chimo batai munhu, mwaya muteu batai munhu, madzibaba batai munhu, batai munhu, madzibaba batai munhu. Nyaya iyi yakona moto, zvikanzi namadzibaba ofisa pano hamuite zvamakaita changirai, pano isu tinokurovai. Mayoumete mapurisa tinonga vachidonha vachidzosera machena, tinonga vachidonha vachidzosera kuti dzidonha vachinonga vachidzosera chimbo dzechidonha vachinonga vachidzosera achihukwa. Ndakazona ofisa akubhadama akukumbira ruregerero, zvikanzi madzibaba dai machinjisira, madzibaba ndokuti andikusiyei svikira mabuda ropa, andikusiyei svikira mabuda ropa. Zvikanzi namadzibaba isusu tinonzi vana madzibaba, zvichireva kuti imimi muri vana. Bvunzai kana inishati anozviziva kuti tinorova paye patakamutorera zondo. Ndakaona mapurisa akomhanya achitiza, mapurisa achimhanya, wane mapurisa akasara akamira akatarisa kuna madzibaba. Zvikanzi naofisa chiuri tomudana